Hey, Shane,
Yeah.
have you seen the entirely accurate, meticulously recreated and researched biopic Weird, the Al Yankovic story?
No, but I'm like one of like 6 people who've seen UHF. But no, I have not seen Weird.
Okay. Well...
Sorry to just like jump in there with, hey, I'm a real fan. I've seen UHF, but I haven't seen Weird. But you know what I have now?
I'm going to admit something to you. I don't know what UHF is.
It's the movie that Weird Al made in the 80s that made him never make movies again.
Amazing. Is it as wonderful as it sounds?
Yeah, it's just really bad and dumb, but
Okay.
really, it's like just like the most stupid humor.
Is it like his SNL, where the SNL guys always do the famous characters and then go make a movie about them, essentially?
Yeah, it's like Weird Al really just wanted to make a bunch of different movies, and so he just made a weird, dumb comedy with a bunch of different, it literally starts off with a dream sequence of him being Indiana Jones, but instead of being like the Golden Idol, it's a fucking Oscar. It's great. He's getting chased by the boulder down the, it's literally just like a perfect recreation, and then the boulder breaks through the wall after, and it literally like chases it through like Antarctica and like down the streets of it's pretty good.
That's amazing.
It's like, so that's UHF.
Yeah.
UHF is a wild time, but yeah, it's like it is the thing that made Weird Al never make movies again.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Until they decided to tackle the raw emotional story that is Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
True story.
Completely historically accurate story.
Couldn't have been more true to life. They had, without just casting the actual people to play the people that lived those lives, I can't imagine it was more accurate.
To its detriment at times, I think it's so accurate.
Yeah.
We can't keep this bit up forever.
I could.
Fine. Okay. So the opening when it,
I will yes and anything.
yeah, I know you will.
That's not true at all.
So this movie, is, I want to be so clear, it is a Funny or Die sketch originally with Aaron Paul
and Olivia Wilde
making fun of the idea of all these music biopics that are all the exact same, that are all so self-serious and kind of self-serving.
Yeah.
Making fun of that as a premise. And then years after that came out, they made a movie.
Yeah.
And guys, it's really, really good. And it's really tragic that it's like a Roku original, which I think that's the only way this particular level of committed to the bit was going to happen.
Fair. Yeah.
But it got buried, and it didn't. Like, I watched it right as it came out because I was like, Daniel Radcliffe is playing Weird Al Yankovic. I'm so in.
Was it like bought by
That's
Roku,
a great question.
or
I don't know.
Funded by Roku, because those are two different things.
Yeah, true. And I honestly couldn't tell you. But it's so good.
But before we get into the movie, do we want to talk about our history with Weird Al and our thoughts going in before the movie was released?
Yeah.
Because I would love to know your feelings on Weird Al, your history with Weird Al.
I think Weird Al's great. I think my history is pretty simple. Like, one morning my dad, I think, made a joke about Amish Paradise.
Yeah, classic.
And I was like, "What are you talking about, Father?" And he was like, "You don't know Amish Paradise?" I was like, "I'm a kid.
I'm a child."
And then he pulled it up on YouTube and played Amish Paradise and the Galaxy Far Away one where he's like sending up the Phantom Menace. Long, whatever. He showed me that one. He showed me White and Nerdy. He showed me all these like bits, and forever I was obsessed with Weird Al. One of Weird Al's like underrated ones, I think, is Drive Through. That's like an 11-minute song.
I don't think that's underrated at all. I think that one, people appreciate that one. That one's beloved.
Look, talk about committed to the bit. That song is committed to the bit.
Oh, it's so good.
Anyway, so that's kind of it for me. I was in a class in college once, and they were showing a music video where it was like a one-shot video, and it was an English class, and I'm sitting there as a film major, like, wee, and like flick a cigarette, whatever. And Weird Al pops up, and I was like, oh, when Weird Al showed up, and my professor was like, you know who Weird Al is? And I was like, yes.
He's not some super underground.
No, he does. Look, he hasn't done a ton in the past little while, but he's Weird Al Yankovic.
Put on a record like just a couple years ago.
Yeah, it was more than a couple. I think it was like 2014 or something.
No.
Were you sure?
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
How positive?
Fairly.
Throw out a year.
2018 at the earliest. I think it was probably like 2019.
2014.
You're fucking serious?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn. I thought I was...
Mandatory fun.
Mandatory fun. Yeah, I knew it was that one. Yeah.
2014?
2014? Really?
Yeah, and he hasn't... I mean, look, I also knew him. He made an appearance in
Weird. Al, get on it. I miss you.
He made an appearance in How I Met Your Mother for a gag, which was fun.
Yeah.
So I've always had an appreciation for Weird Al.
Yeah.
I think there's something fun about someone who's so unabashedly weird.
Yeah.
And
whoa. No, wait.
Yeah.
No, do you think
I did that? Yeah.
Do you think that's why he?
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, I think it's a pretty direct connection. I think.
Whoa.
It's not. There's no layers to it.
I think it's layered, dude.
Okay.
It's layered.
Sure.
It's like an onion, man.
Anyway, so you have hinted that you're a huge Weird Al fan.
Yeah, so apparently not recently, but yeah, growing up, me and my family were huge into Weird Al. We had like every single one of his albums on CD. We listened to them constantly. We went and saw him live.
Yeah.
We have seen UHF.
Yeah.
I can't put that in stronger terms. Nobody saw that movie. Nobody has seen this movie.
This guy
actually,
did.
You know what? I am actually very interested to find out. I'm gonna see which one has more not reviews but like views watched on Letterboxd, whether it was weird or if it's UHF. So 114,000 views or watches for Weird, the Al Yankovic story. Let's see UHF. Let's see how many people have seen that one. 45,000. So almost 1/3. And I am one of those 45,000.
Good job,
people that
buddy.
have seen that movie. And that movie is wild. Anyways.
Yeah.
I grew up with a deep love and appreciation for Weird Al. Not only him, but his band. I feel that's okay.
Yeah.
I want to say that right now. Say it out loud. I love you, Weird Al, and I love your band, man.
Yeah.
Like, and the entire production behind it as well. Like the fact that they are able to so effortlessly recreate any other band, any other artist sound perfectly, just like perfectly recreation.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like a lot of people think that he's just like singing over the instrumental track. No. That they're recreating it wholesale.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the guitarist, I don't know his name off the top of my head. Phenomenal. Like just effortlessly recreate any sound and make it sound just like the original with the Weird Al flair on top.
Yeah.
Ooh, boy, howdy, that's the good shit.
It is. There is something like beautiful about that level of. Again, it's like I think. This will be mostly like my lesson, but we'll talk about it throughout. Is like the commitment to the bit is ingrained in like Al Yankovic as a person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like he is so thoroughly committed to everything he does, and he's like he wants to take it as far as he can take it.
Yeah.
And he's also like smart enough to know that it needs to be a meticulous recreation.
Yeah.
There's enough of the like death of his ego, right?
Yeah.
To be able to do that, to like go like, oh, I'm not going to halfway through do my own thing. He's like, no, I'm just going to recreate this.
Right.
And I think there's something like brilliant and kind of beautiful about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Al Yankovic just rules. I don't think I have any.
I truly think that he has shaped the comedic landscape in a way that I don't think people give him credit for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think he, starting with people like him, shifting into the kind of YouTube music comedy scene all the way through.
Oh, Lonely Island, there's like a direct connection.
Lonely Island, what's his name? Make Happy and
Bo Burnham. Bo Burnham.
And, people like you can make direct connections. Between,
dude, that's a great... Bo Burnham is one of those guys, right? Like, he is so committed to so committed to whatever the project is that they don't have an album for Make Happy.
Yeah.
You can only watch it.
Yeah.
Because he wanted to integrate the two so thoroughly, the two mediums. You know what I mean? Like that's a great one, like great connection. They're doing entirely different things.
Right.
One of them is far more like silly for silly's sake, and one of them is more silly for I'm going to make you cry here in 10 minutes. But it's brilliant. Yeah. Like it's so cool. Yeah,
I think that Al Yankovic has done a lot to shape the comedy world that we live in now. I think, if there is a Mount Rushmore of comedy people, of underrated comedy people, I think Weird Al will definitely should be on, maybe not, like maybe not like the greatest of the greatest of the greatest in terms of like the comedy, full comedy landscape. Yeah. But damn it, he has such a huge impact on such a large chunk of the comedy sphere, and he deserves to be lauded for that. Now, my next question is, what were your thoughts when the announcements for this movie started to come out?
I think I first was aware of it when they announced Daniel Radcliffe was playing it, and that I was immediately on board with. And we'll talk more about this later. I was immediately on board because I'm enamored with how Daniel Radcliffe has handled his post Harry Potter career. Genuinely inspired and enamored by what he has done career wise. And so when they announced it, I was like, that is entirely wrong and absolutely correct. Yeah. I was just very on board for that piece of casting. Yeah. So I think I just kind of got excited. I was like, what is an Al Yankovic biopic gonna be? And it was everything I wanted it to be.
When I first heard that it was Daniel Radcliffe, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What?
But I legitimately, I think that is layered into this as part of the bit. Why is it Daniel Radcliffe?
Right.
For the same reason that everyone wants Daniel Radcliffe to play Wolverine.
See, but that's the thing is, Daniel Radcliffe looks like Wolverine.
Yeah, he added 20 pounds of beef, because he's jacked, but if he added a little body mass... Yeah. He'd be Wolverine.
That dude looks like Wolverine. He's short like Wolverine. You can get him to be Wolverine. Yeah. It's like Daniel Radcliffe does not look like Weird Al.
No.
Doesn't look like Weird Al. Weird Al's really fucking tall. He's really fucking skinny. Yeah. And he's got that crazy hair. And Daniel Radcliffe has none of. Look, he's skinny, but he's not. But he's not like. I mean, he's a little fucking burnt. You know what I mean? Freaking Weird Al's a beanpole. You know what I mean?
So you were turned off by his casting?
No, not turned off by it. Very deeply confused, I think is more accurate. But I was just like, what are they... clearly, they had a vision and an idea. And when that trailer came out, I was like... I've said this before, and we've already talked about UHF, but I was like, I hope... so much that this is a weird backdoor pilot for UHF 2 where it's just Weird Al gets to play with his little action figure people on screen and make a weird, crazy movie. Yeah. And that's kind of what he did. But I desperately wanted the channel to change and go to UHF.
Midway through, just to be like, fuck you guys, you're watching it.
Fuck you, UHF 2, here we go, boy.
And it's just Weird Al instead of Daniel Radcliffe, and we're just fully,
That being said, this movie fully embraces the spirit of UHF, and if anything, vastly improves upon it.
Dude, and I'll say this, I also think there hasn't been a satire on a genre this effective, or genre, subgenre, you know what I mean, since Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. Yeah. Because Walk Hard completely eviscerates the idea of a music biopic, and this does also. Yeah. In a very, way more, again, silly for silly's sake. Not that Walk Hard is at all a serious movie. Yeah. But, this one is just committed to, the escalation of what it's doing so much.
I mean, it's they start in very similar places, and then they completely zag. Yes. They both go in completely different directions, where, Walk Hard is a recreation of a biopic for somebody who did not exist, and kind of follows the normal beats, but elevating them to the comedic level. And Weird takes the weirdest possible paths away
while keeping that like feeling of self-importance and this feeling of like gravitas and stuff, even though you're watching some of the goofiest shit ever depicted.
I mean, it shifts. It decides to take the music biopic and go, fuck it, he's an assassin.
Yeah, like, right. Midway through, he just starts killing people. He's like, what am I? A musical artist who changes the words to popular songs, the world's deadliest assassin. Like, you're like, killed a lot of people this week. Anyway, come on. Like, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
And the opening of the movie is so committed to the like gravitas bit where it's almost not a joke. You're almost like, if you didn't know this was a Weird Al movie, you would kind of just be like, okay, it's one of these. I don't know, man. I when I watched this the first time, I watched it like a week after it came out or something.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, this is funny. I'm into this. And then the last scene happened, and well, spoilers for this movie, but the last scene.
Go watch it.
Isn't
it free on Roku?
It's free on Roku. If you have a Roku, you can watch this movie. There's also Blu-rays of it, and I highly recommend. I bought the like Scream Factory 4K of it.
Is that what we watched?
We watched it on Blu-ray, but because we don't have the 4K player out in the living room.
I'm buying the shit out of that though. The movie. If that tells you anything, he lives in my house, and I'm gonna buy a separate copy for myself.
Yeah, it's so good. But yeah, so it's I highly recommend buying it. But I watched it about a week after it came out. I thought it was funny. Yeah. And then that last scene, I laughed so hard I walked out of my room, and you were like, "You good?" Because it was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Like, oh man.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the funniest comedies of the past few years.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Like, in exactly what we were talking about up front. It commits to the bit so hard and so lovingly.
Yes,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean?
It's not being mean. Nothing about this is mean-spirited.
No. Depending on how you feel about its interpretation of Madonna.
Yeah, okay, that is the one. Because you're like, what did Madonna do?
I can't imagine that Madonna was not consulted at any point. You know what I mean? Like,
Madonna feels like she can hang.
It would be very surprising to me if Weird Al and Madonna weren't actually friends in real life. Not like friend, but like friendly if not kind of friends.
Because they paint her straight up as a supervillain, like
in the best way.
It's so good. It is so good.
I think one of the other things that this movie does just insanely well is the casting across the board.
Everybody.
I mean, like, Daniel Radcliffe is such a wild choice, but he is so fucking great in this movie.
One of the there's been this thing going around on Twitter recently. Where it's like, what's like a line delivery that lives in your head rent free? Mm-hmm. And there's one in this movie where he's talking to his roommate. I can't remember. His roommate says something really dark, and then they immediately go on with something else, and then it cuts to Dan Radcliffe. He's like, "Oh, Tony," but he just says it so perfectly. Good. One of the best line deliveries in so long, man.
Yeah, like I mean, the cameos, man.
Yeah, that one, the party scene where it's just cameo after like everyone is in that scene.
Every single person you've ever loved is
every comedy person you've ever loved, and then David Dastmalnich. How do you pronounce his last name?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, he's in everything. If I show you a picture of him, you can name 5 movies he's seen. You've seen him in because he's in like 7 a year.
So Diedrich Bader is the narrator, is the Weird Al narrator.
Yeah.
Rex Kwon Do.
Yeah.
You've seen him in many things. Lin-Manuel Miranda as the doctor. Thomas Lennon as the accordion salesman. Scott Aukerman as the police officer, known for Comedy Bang Bang and many other amazing things. Johnny Pemberton, Jonah Ray, and Jeremy Bolm as the Barfs.
Yeah.
Eric Apple as Captain Buffoon. Weird Al himself as Tony Scotti.
Which that's one of my favorite jokes in the movies when you're like, "You're ugly. You're disgusting." And Weird Al's like, "Okay, that's enough." Like,
it's like, all right, okay, chill. Will Forte as Ben Scotty.
Yes.
I love Will Forte.
Will Forte is one of genuinely, I think everyone who's ever worked with him is like, he's one of the most talented men alive.
He's
hilarious. He's hilarious so and he's so good at what he does and he's so giving as a comedian.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone who has ever worked with him is like, Will Forte is one of my favorite people.
Everything he shows up in, he elevates.
Yes.
You know what I mean? In the best way.
And not in a scene steely way. You know what I mean?
No,
I think he's,
no.
like I said, he's one of those actors that's very giving. Like, they say Jeremy Allen White runs one of the best sets ever as the first on the call sheet kind of running, where he's like, everything is about improving everyone else first. Like, Bob Odenkirk said that he's like, I've never had a better acting experience outside of Breaking Bad stuff.
Bars.
And so I think there's certain people who just elevate everyone around them. And I think Will Forte is one of those people. I love Will Forte.
Patton Oswalt as the heckler. I was just like, hey, I know that guy. Michael McKean as the MC.
Yes.
Yorma Takun. I don't know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, he's Lonely Island Yorm.
I'm gonna as Pee Wee Herman. Dimitri Martin as Tiny Tim. I looked it up after the fact. I was like, that was Dimitri freaking Martin. Yeah. Hilarious. I love Dimitri Martin. Akiva Schaffer as Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
Paul F. Tompkins as Gallagher. Conan O'Brien as Andy Warhol, Emo Phillips as Salvador Dali, Nina West as Divine, Jack Black as Wolfman Jack, which is just
brilliant, absolutely brilliant,
perfection, and I loved every second of it. David Dastmalchian as John Deacon, the bassist for Queen, Quinta Brunson as Oprah Winfrey. Seth Green was apparently a DJ somewhere. Like, just every comedy person that you know and love.
Every not funny every comedy person.
Yes.
You know, because there's a lot of actors. Like Ryan Gosling is funny.
Yeah,
he's not in comedy.
He's not like a stand-up.
Yeah, there are people out there who could watch this movie and recognize like the most famous of them and completely miss all the fun like. I have watched his thing and laughed. Like Conan O'Brien is a comedian. You know what I mean? And you could watch it and be like, is that late night guy?
I mean, me going fucking Paul F. Tompkins, oh, it's Scott Ackerman. Literally.
Are those the Lonely Island dudes?
Yeah, there were so many times where I was just like, oh shit, that's that guy. Johnny Pemberton. The cameos across the board are so freaking good in this movie.
Yeah.
And then there is Evan Rachel Wood.
Yep.
This is a moment of silence for the perfection that is her performance in this movie. And I have to be honest, it has awakened something deep within me that I didn't know existed.
Is it at the end when she has the eye patch and the scar?
Oh, it's the militant Madonna that really did it for me. That I had a new awakening inside of me. I would not mind if Evan Rachel Wood as militant Madonna would, I don't know, kick me and spit on me, whatever.
For sure.
I'm down. Evan Rachel Wood is so freaking funny and so good in this.
She really is.
Yeah, I could not, she's overall her career, I can't think of much comedy she's had in her career.
She was in that movie Kilimanjaro, that heist movie, but it's not really a comedy movie. It's just funny, I think. I think people have said it's like a funny-esque. Yeah. It's quirky.
Yeah.
She's not a comedy person by any means.
And she seems so down.
She fits in so well.
So down to hang.
Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely love so many of the things that this movie decided to be. Because it could have been, it could have been a funny, boring biopic.
Yeah.
Or it could have been something that wasn't a biopic of Weird Al.
Yeah.
It could have been another Dewey Cox.
Yeah.
But just the fact that it's this is a real human being that they decided
completely completely fabricating his entire existence.
Oh, Rainn Wilson as Dr. Demento. Yeah. I love that so much. I love how integral Dr. Demento is. That's another I had a freaking Dr. Demento CD when I was a kid, that we listened to all the time. The song Fish Heads is permanently burned into my brain.
Damn.
It's the truth.
That I want to talk about. That is the big reason I wanted to show you. Right? We talked about Jim and Andy. We talked about Man on the Moon as an interesting. I thought this was an interesting pairing to that.
Yeah.
In that Andy Kaufman had nothing to do with that movie.
Yeah.
People in Andy Kaufman's life did.
Yeah.
And so they do have this air of like, oh, you're this special, right? And I'm not saying that's bad.
Yeah.
I think there's something really inspiring, and I think this of Rocket Man too, which is another movie we'll do soonish.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a musical month or something, and we'll watch some musicals.
I'm down for that.
And Rocket Man is very critical of Elton John, and Elton John was very involved.
Yeah.
He wanted it to be that way. I think there's something really inspiring about a man who dedicated his life to goofs and capers and jokes, just making an absolute like buffoonish movie about himself. Like genuine. And I think this is like Daniel Radcliffe, right? Like Daniel Radcliffe went from Harry Potter to playing like a dead body who farts a lot.
Yeah.
And then doing this. Like he has had the most interesting post-franchise career. He's having the
really wild stage stuff.
Yes, he's done a full nude thing on stage before. I think like Daniel Radcliffe is just
he's doing a musical with friggin' with him.
Daniel Radcliffe has just gone, I have more money than I can ever spend. Let me spend the rest of my life doing things I find really interesting and really fun. And it's like, I wish like Robert Downey Jr. did that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He has more money than God at this point.
Yeah.
Why doesn't, and he's kind of doing it, but his only like great post Iron Man thing is Oppenheimer. And that came out this year.
Yeah.
So we'll see where he goes, right? Like a lot of people think he's going to pop in to prove he can still do it, then go back to making a movie every 6 years. That's kind of bad.
I mean, to play devil's advocate for Robert Downey Jr., I mean, he finished being Iron Man a couple of years ago, where maybe question mark asterisk.
His last appearance was in 2019 as Iron Man.
Well,
that's like 6 years ago, dude. But my point is, in that interim time, his projects have been like Doolittle.
Yeah.
And like one or two other things. And then he comes out with Oppenheimer, and it's like, think about what Chris Evans immediately did after being done with Captain America. He made Knives Out.
Yeah.
Like he immediately tried to reinvent himself, and then Chris Evans has backslid into doing weird things.
But what I'm saying, the comparison to Daniel Radcliffe is like Daniel Radcliffe didn't go immediately from Harry Potter into but he took some time, and it took him a while to kind of.
But I still think the things he's known for post that are like kind of immediately doing different things. Right. You know what I mean? Like. I think
Doolittle wasn't the same.
Doolittle wasn't the same, but it was like it was a VFX heavy, dumb, poorly written thing. Like that was my bigger issue. His immediate follow up to it was something that was just kind of like, why? Yeah. Versus Daniel Radcliffe, who like maybe took some time off, but then started doing really cool shit.
Yeah,
very quickly, and has maintained that. I don't mean to dog on Robert Downey Jr.
Robert.
I want Robert Downey Jr. to wield the power of being Robert Downey Jr., who has been in multiple billion-dollar movies.
Yeah.
And go do shit with that. You know what I mean? Like, go wield that and create the coolest little projects. And I hope he does. But anyway, I think that's genuinely inspiring from Weird Al. Like,
I think Robert Pattinson is probably also a good comparison.
Robert Pattinson is also a great comparison.
Because he like finished Twilight, and then he was like, I'm gonna go find some good shit to work on. Like, I'm not gonna, I have my money. He does, like he I think he looks back on Twilight fondly.
He looks back on Twilight appreciatively.
That's a good way of putting it.
I don't think he liked it.
Yeah.
He's very vocal about thinking it's dumb.
Yeah.
But he also isn't.
But he's not wrong.
He's not. But I also, we can talk about my love for Robert Downey Jr. For Robert Pattinson all night. I love that interesting and different for him was the Batman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I also think that's very cool. Now, mind you, it was a perfect storm, like, and a director who actually gave a shit and working with maybe the best DP working right now, like, in the discussion.
Yeah.
And a great script and like a weird amount of creative control. Like he found his way into it right at the time. But anyway,
but for the years before that, he was doing Lost City of Z,
Lost City of Z,
The Lighthouse, and you know what I mean. Like,
Damsel is a really weird movie that he's in. That's fun. Metropolitan. He did a Cronenberg movie.
Yeah. Cosmopolis,
whatever.
Crown Gin.
If you look up his career, you'll find it. It's pretty interesting. I went on a huge stint of watching. He did High Life, which is a cool,
About
weird
Time,
movie.
Or not About Time. About the.
Oh, Good Time.
Good Time.
Good Time being maybe his top two performances. Like
So it's like, like there is. I think that there is a great opportunity.
Kristen Stewart also kind of did that, but Kristen Stewart is kind of weird about what she chooses. She'll do a bunch of like really indie things and then pop into like a very random blockbuster.
Charlie's Angels.
Exactly. You're just like, oh, okay, Kristen. Yeah. I mean, I love her too.
But it's good to see Daniel Radcliffe making these.
I guess I've been choices. So like bummed out by like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds and this like class of like personality machines. You know, instead of using. Well, that being said, The Rock just signed on to be in a Safdie brother project for A24. He's playing a UFC fighter, and I don't know if Safdie is just producing it or if he's directing it.
Wild.
But yeah, he just signed on to do that.
I'm down.
So we'll see. But I just appreciate Daniel Radcliffe doing that, but I really appreciate Weird Al not taking a moment to like gloat or do a victory lap for his career or whatever.
Yeah.
And just go make all of these satirical jokes, but he's like maybe the greatest recording artist of all time. Yeah. And you're just like, no, like the movie knows it's silly. The movie knows it's all fake and dumb. And I think that's beautiful, man. I wish more people would be less self-serious about it.
And it's like, I think it's a really interesting comparison to Man on the Moon, where it's like these two people are really, really famous comedians. They're very, very famous for being funny in a different way than
in a very like specific way.
And Weird is hilarious.
Yeah.
And Man on the Moon isn't.
Man on the Moon is like funny sometimes.
It's funny in the way that like the things that Andy Kaufman did sometimes was funny, but the movie isn't funny.
Yeah, the movie
isn't trying to be funny.
It's like a dramedy, you know what I mean? It's like it's dramedy leaning drama. Like it just has some gags in it is really it.
But that's the thing is like the gags that are happening on screen are it isn't like the movie doing funny things.
It's
like,
not telling jokes.
No.
It's just funny situations.
It's because like it's just showing you the funny thing that Andy Kaufman did. Where it's like this like
is a
Weird
comedy.
Is a comedy. And like I think that is a really interesting comparison for a movie like this, where it's like these two things are about the same type of person.
Yeah, the same type of artist.
Yeah. And they completely change the, flip the script on it. And I think that's really, really, really interesting. And that's why I like Weird way more. Yeah,
well, dude, Weird is like, again, it feels like it's kind of forgotten. I feel like I've never heard anyone say anything negative about it. I feel like everyone who's watched it's been like, this movie rules, but it has quite a few people have watched it on Letterboxd. Yeah. I just wish it had blown up and been this massive success.
I mean, being as part of the streaming service that is only available on one type of streaming box.
It was never going to be that.
Yeah.
But now it is available on Scream Factory 4K. So I really am trying to get Scream Factory to sponsor us.
Scream Factory, come on the pod.
Here, I'm just going to say now, Scream Factory, Letterboxd, the Alamo Drafthouse. Those are my white whales.
Anybody at A24.
Anybody at A24. I'll do anything you want.
Pedro Pascal?
Do you?
For the meme?
I was like, do you sponsor people, Pedro?
Just come on the pod, and dude, we'll sponsor you.
I would love to have Pedro Pascal come on the pod and talk about the unbearable weight of massive talent.
Yeah, no, we would have to pick like his most like random small shit, and we talk about that and not Last of Us.
Yeah.
Or Mandalorian.
So you've been in The Mandalorian and The Last of Us and a movie with Nick Cage. Yeah. Anyway, what is Prospector about?
I would talk about Prospect for a long time.
Prospect. I want to watch it. It looks very cool to me.
That movie's really cool. The movie's really cool.
Anyway, back to Weird. This movie and its commitment to its bit. Like it never tips its hat in a way that it's not supposed to. You know what I mean? And I want to be very clear. This movie ends with Weird Al Yankovic being assassinated at the Grammys or whatever.
Yeah, the like 1990 Grammys or whatever.
Like, and it
no, because it's not the Grammys. It's some other fake award.
Yeah. And it commits, like it immediately goes to credits and does like memorial music with him. And then the credits start and it's a Weird Al song that about halfway through stops and you think it's over. And then it just starts again and the song's like fake out.
Yeah.
And goes back and then it does it again. Like there's something about comedy. Like, did you ever watch movies and go, this would be a really good spot for a joke right here?
Yeah.
Do you ever like, sometimes I'm like, I just watched, I went and saw Poor Things in theaters. And there's a moment in Poor Things where it's like kind of funny what's happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, come back in the room. Like I wanted him to come back in the room and do something and then leave again. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's like this movie never misses an opportunity for that. It pulls every possible joke it can out.
Yes.
I love it. I love this movie, man.
Yeah.
And it's one that I like. Most comedies are this way. That's a general comedy thing. But watch this with a group.
Yeah.
Like
yes,
this is a
100%.
really fun movie to show people.
Yeah,
Like
I
I had a
agree.
lot of fun sitting there like, oh, I cannot wait to see this scene and
Yeah.
like see how it plays.
Yeah.
It's fun. And if you show it to somebody and they don't like it, you don't need to be their friend because they're not fun.
Dude, that's like this movie's a litmus test for
Yeah.
sure. This is a friendship litmus test.
If they can't hang with this movie, what's the point?
Yeah, when he was showing it was me, you, and Breck watching
Yeah.
it together. I was busting out
Yeah.
laughing the entire
Yeah.
time. I was laughing harder than the other two combined.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so good, dude.
oh shit, this movie's freaking, and it like looks really good.
Yeah,
Like,
they commit to the style,
yeah,
man.
they really like it, they don't phone it in. Like it looks good. Like I think the movie's like overall pretty darn well shot.
Yeah.
Like I think like there's like a weird acid trip sequence in the middle with some kind of weird CGI effects stuff.
Yeah.
But other than that, this movie looks dope as hell.
Yeah.
I'm really into it.
It's I think this movie is underappreciated, and honestly, there's like a lot to like garner from it, like learn,
Yeah.
like things I've said already, but like just how to make a comedy in the 2020s, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, because not many of them come out anymore. Everything is an action comedy or
Yeah.
a dramedy or like
We were literally we saw the trailer for something earlier or like yesterday, and I was like, why does everything have to be an action movie? Why does everything have to be a $250 million action comedy?
it's the same thing as they like hide the fact like Wonka is a straight up musical,
yeah.
and they like really hide that in the trailers.
Which doesn't make any sense to me.
No, not at all. But the reason they say it's like, look, test audiences don't want to watch musicals ever, and so we have to hide the marketing because that's what people take from
But
test
that's
audience
not
shit.
true at all because what's the movie with Hugh Jackman that made a $1 gajillion?
Yeah, but since then, what's a musical that has done really well? Because that also opening weekend did terrible.
Yeah.
Like awful. And then weekend 2, they had gotten some like YouTube, like big thing to cover the song. And then it started like skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Like that was a smart marketing pivot that they made to make that popular. Because like West Side Story bombed.
yeah.
In the Heights did not do very well.
yeah.
Musicals lately have just not done as well as they really deserve because we've had some really pretty good ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Again, I don't agree with that hiding that. Like,
Yeah.
like look, the Mean Girls musical that's coming out. The trailer does not feature one song that is actually from the movie.
That just does like, if anything, that if I went into a movie that I didn't know was a musical and it was a musical, that would piss me off more.
Yep.
Than going and just seeing a musical.
The Lego Movie Part 2 is basically a musical. None of the trailers made it seem like a musical. Like
yeah, like
the Joker 2 is a musical, and I guarantee they're going to market it that way.
they fucking better. They got
Yeah.
Lady Gaga on the track. If they
Yeah.
don't have her singing in the fucking trailer, what are you doing?
Yeah. Anyway, I is Weird a musical? I mean, it's got like musical sequences, but it's not like a musical. It's more like people performing the song diegetically. Like
It's a music biopic, so it's like
Yeah.
it has the music where it's like, Walk Hard isn't a musical, but
Yeah.
it features the songs all right.
Yeah.
And they are original songs.
Yeah.
My favorite part of the of Weird was in the lyrics to the song at the end. It's like, this song is technically eligible for best song
at the Academy Awards.
Academy Awards. Like, that's freaking hilarious.
It's so good, dude.
It's him circling all the way back to the beginning of UHF.
Yeah. Dude, I love when he this is just another random.
Oh, that was such a good segue right at the end. That we could have ended the conversation right there. Oh, would have been perfect.
All right, we'll cut this and we'll just
Yeah, fuck you. Whatever you were gonna say, we're done. No, I'm kidding. What were you saying?
Oh, just talk about bits and stuff with like when he puts the cigarette out on Will
Yes.
Forte's hand.
Yes, it's so good.
It's one of the funniest or when they're like, he's like, inspiration doesn't just strike, guys, and then he's like, what's wrong? Is the DJ asleep? Is the record skipping? Because
Yeah.
it's just playing the one lyric he needs to hear, and then he walks over and immediately sings, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
And he starts singing, and they freak out, and he just like slaps him in the face, and like, this movie is so smart.
So
like,
good.
It's so smart in such an on the nose way,
Yeah.
but like, I knows like it could do this subtly.
Also, it's so weird seeing the kid from Unbreakable as an adult man.
Yeah.
I was like, where do I know this dude from?
Yeah, you didn't watch Glass, did you?
No, I did
Yeah,
not.
seeing him in Glass, you're like, wow.
Jump scare. No,
Yeah.
he seems fine. But
Yeah.
that movie, I'm gonna watch it someday. But today is not
Glass
that
is
day.
the only movie I've ever watched where I went, I love this. And then the last 4 minutes or like 4 to 10 minutes of the movie, I went, I hate this.
Wow, is it really that late that it ruins it?
Maybe not quite that late, but it is literally the end of the third act where you're
Damn.
like, fuck. And here's my thing. There are a lot of people who are like, and I have watched that movie twice. I've gone back and the beginning of it is not as interesting as I remember in the experience of watching it. But man, they make a choice that pisses me off so much. And this is as a deep, big fan of Unbreakable.
Yeah.
Like I love Unbreakable.
That movie's so freaking good.
And so watching this movie, you're like, oh my God, really? Like it's frustrating.
Dude, I really hate that they even made it. You know what I mean? Because I really liked the ending of Split where it was just like, oh shit, that's dope as hell.
Yeah.
And then they were like, but money. And I was like, no.
I think that was the plan. Like I think
really?
It was I not when he made Unbreakable, but when he made Split and put that in there, I think it was the plan
probably.
To like he's like, well, I got a third one we can make and it will,
fair.
Comment on the superhero thing right now and
fair.
But anyway.
Because
when that happened in Split, I was like, what the fuck? Like fascinating.
I loved that.
Because at that time I had seen Unbreakable, but I was like too young to really get into it. And then after that I rewatched it, was like, oh, Unbreakable's like his masterpiece.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Weird.
It's not Old.
Old has one scene in it that is so good, and the rest of that movie is meh.
I want to watch that movie just to understand why do they get old?
Yeah.
That's all I want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch the movie. I want to go, why do they get old?
Yeah.
But I could just Google it. But
you
that
could.
feels
I
cheap.
could tell you.
All right, bleep the next minute of the pot. No, I'm kidding.
I'll beep it like, brrr, just take that and loop it. Brrr.
Yeah.
Anyway. Anything else on Weird? Do you have any other feelings or thoughts? Lessons? I mean, I kind of covered a lot of my lessons, but...
I think you kind of covered how I would do it. Again, commitment to the bit. I think like not only are they committing on like a story comedy front, but on a visual one as well. They never like fake a gag in that way. You know what I mean? Like it really feels like they went for the like gritty, dark biopic of this, drug addicted rock star, but they're talking about Weird Al, one of the most like wholesome jokesters in all of comedy.
Yeah.
So it's like I really appreciate again the level of commitment from on all fronts, on the from the casting to the acting, the script, the direction, the cinematography. I thought the commitment to the bit.
So good.
Bars.
Weird is amazing. Watch it. It's very, very good.
Weird is a weird movie.
Yep.
But in a good way.
And now we have a weird B segment.
And we've got a weird B segment. Okay. So Weird Al is very famous for one specific reason, his song parodies.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you 2 titles of song parodies and the songs that they're parodying. And you have to tell me which one is the real one.
Okay.
So first, we've got Girls Just Want to Have Lunch, which is a song parody of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Or My Old Tire, a song parody of I'm on Fire by Bruce Springsteen. Which one is the real one? The real Weird Al. All of these are either Weird Al or...
The first one is the real one.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Girls Just Want to have lunch. Yoda, a song parody of Lola, or Nurple Pain, the song parody of Purple Rain.
It's Yoda, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's the real one.
But I really like Nurple Pain.
Nurple Pain. Because I was like, that is too goofy to be made up or too goofy. You know what I mean? Like,
bet your ass I'm writing that one tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Downtown Hurl, which is a song parody of Uptown Girl, or Living with a Hernia, which is a song parody of Living in America by James Brown.
Living with a Hernia, right?
Is the real one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. This is the best I've ever done on a game.
Living in the Fridge is a song parody of Living on the Edge, or Venereal Swirl, which is a song parody of Material Girl.
The first one's real.
Yes. He's doing so well. I did very poorly. Bedrock Anthem, which is like a Red Hot Chili Peppers like mashup song. or Can You Smell It, which is a song parody of Black Velvet.
Can You Smell It?
Nope.
One?
Bedrock Anthem.
It wouldn't be me if I didn't lose one.
Dude, you're doing great so far.
I know.
Poppy Seed Buns, which is a song parody of Black Hole Sun, or Gump, which is a song parody of Lump.
Gump, real one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't Pee, a song parody of Don't Speak, or Phony Calls is a song parody of Waterfalls.
Phony Calls, real one. Yeah.
Damn, he's doing good, guys.
First time for everything.
Creep is a song parody of Creep by TLC, but instead of just doing the song lyrics, they switched it with Creep by Radiohead.
Yeah.
So it's the music of Creep by TLC, but the lyrics of Creep by Radiohead. Or Cavity Search, which is a song parody of Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me.
Cavity Search, real one?
Yes. God damn it. I only stumped him with one.
Yes.
All right. You are 7 for 8. Congratulations. He won a game, guys.
First tap for everything.
See, if anything, that goes to show how hard it actually is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, he picks games I'm bad at and then makes them difficult.
Yeah. But bet your ass I am writing Nurple Pain.
I'm so excited for that.
Come on. That one's a good one, guys.
That's going to be amazing.
Nurple Pain.
Yeah.
Nurple Pain.
Done deal. I'm in.
Okay.
You want a six record contract or?
Yes. I could do it. I couldn't do it. I can't.
I couldn't. I don't even know what music is.
Yeah.
This is my first.
I can't. Oh God, all the stuff with the accordion too. Like,
y'all didn't tell me this was a polka party.
It's so good.
Love it.
The kid that they cast as the kid version of Weird Al, also phenomenal.
He's
like,
great.
Perfect. Like really, really, really good.
He's so good.
Recommendations.
I said it earlier. Poor Things. I just saw Poor Things.
Bars.
When this comes out, if you can still catch it in a theater, go see that movie. It's very good. It's pretty. There's some things you have to kind of like grapple with in it. It's very adult, but watch it because it's also very, very good.
Hell yeah.
Poor Things.
Hell yeah. Mine's different. Mine is Plex or Jellyfin or any place where you can store the media that you purchase. Because streaming services are actively deleting things. Sony is actively taking away your purchased movie. So if you purchased a television show or a movie, they can just take that away at any point with no repercussions because you bought it, but you didn't actually buy it. So having a way to have your own digital media and store it and back it up and being able to stream it on your own is a good thing. And not having to rely on some of these services to keep the things that you love because they are really, really, really unreliable right now. So something like a Plex or a Jellyfin or whatever, and backing up your legally purchased media is, I think, a good thing that we all should be doing right now. I have recently invested in such a server, and I have been actively backing up a lot of my movies so I can, I have the physical version, but I can always stream them if I'm not away, not at home or, whatever. I have a backup in some, if something happened to the disc, I have a backup version of it. So that is my recommendation. Back up your shit and go buy physical media. Just go buy physical media. If we could just get back to that, maybe the streaming services wouldn't hold so much freaking power.
We will. I made a TikTok recently.
This guy made a TikTok recently
about Hush being removed from Netflix.
Yeah.
Did some research. Hush was taken off Netflix because the rights reverted back to Mike Flanagan's company, and they are currently shopping that around with the Express. One of the Express pieces in his contract he wants is that it will get a physical media release.
Bars.
So yeah, that's look up the things that are available on physical media from streaming services because a lot of them are very good about putting them out.
Yeah,
HBO is great about it. I own Watchmen, I own Peacemaker, I own The Last of Us. You can buy Sopranos. You can buy
they're
Game
not
of Thrones.
perfect about it though. They've made some stuff that has that they have since deleted.
No. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I'm just saying, like, from a film preservation standpoint, if something's available on physical and you like it, get it, and then back it up on something like a Plex. You know what I mean? So, look, I love physical, but like TV is definitely more convenient. I will 100% of the time watch my movie I own on the disc versus a streaming if I have it available.
Yeah.
TV, I can go kind of otherwise.
Yeah.
It takes more for me to buy a TV series on Blu-ray than it does for me to buy a movie on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm look up what's available, make sure you get it, invest in Plex if that's your game.
Yeah, or Jellyfin or
Jelly,
yeah. I'm not repping any of those companies specifically.
Yeah, some way to preserve this because the streaming services are very clearly it's not their priority.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like they are actively, companies like Sony is actively removing things that you purchased with your own money.
You don't own it unless it's sitting on your shelf or sitting on a private
or sitting on your own server. Yeah. So, invest in your own in physical media and invest in your own servers and create your own streaming service because you can't trust all of them to do it for you.
Yep.
So yeah.
Now you got a lot of stuff to watch and a bunch of servers to build and movies to hunt down.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
You got all this stuff and you should go do that. Or don't. I don't know. Live your life.